Jennifer here with the Family Fudge, and welcome to Bunches of Lunches. If you're new here, welcome. I really do hope that you like what you see and that you'll hit that red subscribe button as well. Now, before I get started, I feel the need to explain myself. You see, I get a lot of questions about my lunches, and that brings me to story time. Long ago, when I was a college student, I spent time living, working, and of course going to school in Japan, which I absolutely loved. While I was in Japan, I was introduced to the art and culture of the Japanese bento. And for some Japanese, this is not just a daily meal packed in a box. Bento making is a hobby and an art form. It's a way to be creative, artistic, and the bento itself is meant to bring joy to the person eating it. Now, of course, I fell in love with the cute bentos made for kids especially, and I knew that someday I'd love to make lunches like that for my own kids. Now, fast forward to today, I have 4 kids, 3 of which are school-aged, and I'm making my own kind of westernized version of the bento. And you guys, I am so thankful for all of your support on this channel. Recently, I've been able to take my love of lunch making and turn it into a home-based business. With the YouTube videos, we have our own lunch kit on Amazon, and there's also a not-so-secret Bunches of Lunches app as well. So you guys, at the end of the day, my lunch videos are not about being super mom or a Pinterest mom. They are about having fun, being creative, and inspiring others to do the same. And now, without further ado, let's get on to the lunches. Okay guys, good morning and happy Monday. So this is actually our first full week of school because of Hurricane Dorian. A lot of schools were closed in our area, which was definitely a bummer. So this week we are trying some new lunch boxes. These are called Bento Fresh, and no, this video is not sponsored by them. I bought these with my own money, but I just really wanted to give these a try. I've heard really good things about them. Now, these do seem like a really good quality, but I have to say they're not exactly inexpensive. But here's a tip, you guys. I often see different kinds of bento containers on sale on Groupon quite often, so definitely check on Groupon first. These definitely seem like they're gonna last a long time, and I really like these ones because they're dishwasher safe and they're much easier for my kids to actually open than some of our other lunch boxes. So now that I've explained about the lunch boxes, we need to actually make the lunch. This year on Bunches of Lunches, I'm really gonna try to make more lunches that are faster to make. Now, I do have to make 3 lunches, so that is gonna take me a little bit longer. But if I have a really special lunch that I wanna make, I'm actually gonna start making those lunches the night before, which is a really good tip if you're short on time in the morning. So now with these lunches today, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this divider piece. I'm not gonna need that. Now, I like that these are removable, but that does mean that they have the possibility of getting lost, which is not great. I do have space to keep these in my lunch supply room. If you guys have not checked out that video, I will pop in a card right here and I'll link it down below. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I might have the largest lunch supply collection in America. You should definitely check out that video if you haven't already. This is not something you absolutely have to do, but I think it makes it look a lot more fun and colorful, so I like to use them. Of course, these are made of silicone, so you can wash them and use them over and over, and you could even bake muffins in them if you wanted to. Now, the ends of my celery are looking a little bit dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and trim those off. And you guys, since it is Monday, I am gonna make this lunch meat-free. I often like to do a meat-free Monday if I can. Before I cut all of my celery, I do need to measure a little bit. I'm not quite sure what size is gonna fit in this lunchbox the best. I have definitely made that mistake before, thinking that the celery or carrots would fit in a lunchbox, and then I cut them too big and they don't fit. So then I have to go cut them again. What is that saying? You know, like measure twice, cut once? Yeah, I'm not very good at that. I am gonna go ahead and slice them down the middle. Usually when I do this, my kids are more likely to eat it because I think it's a little bit easier for their little teeth to bite into. And now in this back section, I'm gonna go ahead and add some fruit. For today's lunch, I decided on strawberries, and I have something special for the kids to do with these strawberries. Now, normally when I put strawberries in a lunchbox, I'll just cut the tops off of them and then slice them in halves or maybe quarter them. But for today's lunch, I'm gonna go ahead and chop them a little bit smaller. I definitely don't want them to be small like mushy pieces. These are definitely smaller and more bite-sized. The next thing I'm adding into these lunch boxes is a little Jif to go pack. These are a super convenient way to send peanut butter to school. And speaking of peanut butter in schools, if your kids can't have peanut butter or can't have it at their school, you can definitely use Sun Butter or even Wow Butter instead. Next, I'm going to be adding some round pieces of bread. Now I know that sounds really strange, but hear me out. For these lunches, I'm just using a couple of slices of whole wheat bread, and then I'm going to use my uncrustable maker to cut out some circles. Now I'm not actually making an uncrustable sandwich, I just want a nice big circle with no crust on it. So now that I have all of my bread circles ready to go, I gotta stop and put away the crusts. I get asked all the time what to do with my leftover crusts. I put them in a Ziploc bag and I keep them in the freezer. And when the bag is full, I actually use these crusts to make a French toast casserole. It's like the perfect way to use leftover crusts. Now to go along with this lunch, I also want to add some cheese, but not just any cheese. I actually found some cheese curds at Aldi the other day, so I thought that would be really fun to add into the lunches. I'm going to add a little back to school themed pick into each of them. I have one that says school and two little school buses as well. For a snack today, I'm also going to add in some popcorn. And I'm putting the popcorn in these reusable zipper bags. These are so great. I've actually been using these for years. They're a great alternative to Ziploc bags. You can just wash them out and use them over and over. For the kids' drink today, they're just going to be taking some water. So I got these water bottles at Costco a while ago. I do wish they were a tad bigger, but they do keep the water nice and cold for quite a while. Now, lastly, I do want to go ahead and throw in this little spoon, fork, knife combo. Now, I will have links to all of these products down below if you're curious, but the kids will definitely need this to put together this lunch today. For today's lunch, I'm sending the kids with DIY PB&J tacos. That's right, the kids can make these themselves right at the lunch table when they're ready to eat them. All they have to do is take their circle of bread, then they'll take some of their peanut butter and spread it right on there. And then you could also send some jam as well for your kids to use, but instead I'm going to tell my kids to scoop their strawberries right in there instead of jam. Now you could also use blueberries or even slices of banana. Those would all be perfect in these little peanut butter tacos. Now all you have to do is fold it up like a taco and it's ready to eat. Isn't that cute? I was making this for myself. I would definitely use some chunky peanut butter, maybe a little bit of jam, and I would mix blueberries and strawberries together. I think that sounds the best. So now I'm going to go ahead and close up all of my boxes and get them into the bags. These bento boxes do actually fit inside the Bunches of Lunches lunch bag, but I do have to say it's kind of a tight squeeze. Then I'm going to go ahead and add the popcorn in there, their water, their little utensil, and the final touch is a single little napkin. Because I'm thinking that peanut butter might get a little messy. Hopefully not. Now it's time to zip these up and we can head out. Now, I love making these little sandwiches because not only do they fit perfectly into lunch boxes, but when I use the Hawaiian rolls, I can literally make a dozen sandwiches in about 2 minutes. Now, originally, I was just going to be making a dozen of these sliders, but Walmart was out of the regular size package of the rolls, and they gave me this big pack instead. I'm going to go ahead and break this into 2 and make 2 different kinds of sliders. Using my serrated knife, I'm going to go ahead and cut all of the rolls in half all at the same time. Now, you guys, when it comes to freezer sandwiches, I do add the filling a little bit differently because I don't want these sandwiches to get soggy as they are thawing out. First, I'm adding a layer of deli ham, followed by a layer of cheese, Now you guys, at this point, if you wanted to, you could add some condiments like mayo or mustard. Adding the condiments in the center means that they won't get your bread all soggy. But what I like to do is actually pack the condiments separately into the lunch boxes. So at this point, I'm adding one more layer of ham. Then I'm going to close this up, and usually I would just saw through all of the individual sandwiches like this. But since these rolls are kind of a weird shape, I'm just going to quickly cut them out individually. Now at this point, I'm going to flash freeze these sliders. Now that just means I'm going to add them to my cookie sheet, just like this. Then I'm going to stick the whole tray in my freezer for about 30 minutes. Now I do this because I don't want to actually individually wrap each sandwich, but I also don't want them to stick together. Now for these second sliders, I'm going to be making these pretty much the exact same way, but this time instead of ham, I'm using some salami, and instead of cheddar cheese, I'm using provolone. Now all I have to do is cut these apart, then add them to my tray so I can flash freeze them as well. Now these little sliders will stay good in the freezer for several weeks, and when it comes time to make your lunch, all you have to do is take out however many sandwiches you need, and you can put them directly into your lunchbox. By lunchtime, they will be perfectly thawed out. At that point, you can go ahead and add your own condiments and enjoy. Next up, I'm going to be making a lunch that's a little unusual, but still really tasty, and I call these breakfast tacos. Well, I guess I should say breakfast soft tacos because I'm actually going to be using some of these street size tortillas. They're nice and small and perfect for a lunchbox. And as far as the filling goes, I'm also going to prepare some eggs. I think 2 eggs is going to be plenty for a lunch. So I'm actually going to scramble these up in the pan. I'm going to season these with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then comes the cheese. Now I want to make these breakfast tacos easy to eat, so I'm adding the cheese in now so that it can melt all together. I'm going to be adding in those turkey sausage links. I just went ahead and cut these up into little pieces. And then for a little bit of freshness, I'm also going to add some chopped up green onion. And check it out, you guys. This is cheesy and sausagey and delicious. It's kind of like a breakfast burrito. So now I'm going to go ahead and get this filling into my food jar. So now I'm going to get my lid on here nice and tight, and like I said, these jars do a great job at keeping the food piping hot. Now in the lunchbox itself, I went ahead and added 3 little tortillas, and I rolled them up so that they would fit better. Now to go along with this lunch, I'm also going to be adding in some steamed corn. This just fits perfectly right in this spot. And then for the fruit in this lunch, I'm going to be adding some strawberries. I cut these into cute little heart shapes. And then in the back, I have just enough room for some salsa. And I'm using the little sauce container that came with my Blue Ellie lunchbox. These are really nice and leak-proof, and they hold a lot of sauce. Or salsa. Now to finish off this lunch, I'm also going to be adding in a little sweet treat. I love these little strawberry cookies. They are so good. I'm just going to add 3 of these to the Blue Ellie reusable snack bag. And then for the drink today, something kind of different. I've never tried this before. This is called tamarind nectar. Let me know in the comments down below if you've ever tried it before. I know what you're probably thinking. What am I doing with these Halloween decorations? It's only September. Yes, I know it does seem a little bit early to be having Halloween decorations out, but there's a good reason. So for today's lunch, I went ahead and grabbed this out of my fridge. This is pumpkin spiced cream cheese spread, which is really good. This almost tastes like pumpkin cheesecake, but not quite as sweet. So I'm going to take this cream cheese spread and I'm going to add it to some Mickey waffles. Now I know they're going to be selling Mickey pumpkin waffles at the Halloween party, but I also know those things are going to be pricey. So I'm going to make my kids their own pumpkin Mickey waffles for lunch today. Now I do want to go ahead and toast these waffles. I know they're not going to stay hot in the lunch or anything like that. I thought it would be good to toast them so they wouldn't be sort of weird and soggy in the lunchbox. If you've never used waffles instead of sandwich bread before, you should definitely give it a try. This is such an easy and fun thing to do for like a birthday or any special event really. So now that the sandwiches are done, I'm going to move on to this cucumber. I'm going to start by removing about 50% of the peel, and now I'm going to go ahead and slice this into fairly thick chunks. I don't want these to be too thin. Now I do have some carrots to go along with this, but I'll show you those in just a minute. They're kind of a surprise. Now to decorate the bottom of the lunchbox, I'm adding just 2 little cupcake liners. Then I'll go ahead and add some silicone liners in there. I think orange would be perfect for this lunch. Now in go my cucumbers, and right on the top I'm going to add some carrots. And I used my mini alphabet cookie cutters to cut out a B and 2 O's. I thought boo would be appropriate for this Halloween lunch. Now for our fruit today, I'm just going to take a little mandarin orange, and I'm going to very carefully poke a little hole at the top, and I'm going to stick in just a little stalk of celery, left over from yesterday's lunch, of course. This is such a cute and easy way to make an orange look like a pumpkin. Next, for the lunches, I'm also going to throw in a string cheese. Currently, all of my kids like string cheese. Sometimes they go through a phase where they don't like it, but right now they definitely do. And I'm just going to do a really quick decoration to the string cheese. This is really quick and easy. I'm going to take my Sharpie marker, and on the outside of the package, not on the cheese itself, okay? Don't do that. I'm going to draw just 3 little circles. 2 for the eyes and 1 for the mouth, and basically it's supposed to resemble a little ghost. I think it does, and since it's so quick and easy, it was no problem to do it for this lunch. Now for the kids' snack today, I'm just going to throw in an applesauce pouch. I recently found these at Target. These ones are perfect. They have little Halloween decorations on the outside of the package. This box has apple strawberry, plain apple, and apple banana. And check it out, you guys, this is kind of funny. Right on the side, it says that you could win a trip to Disney World to actually go to the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party next year. So that's pretty cool. And then finally, again, the kids are just taking their water bottles with them today. And the kids really like it when I add in just a few ice cubes. That way their water can stay extra cold. It is still pretty hot outside. Okay guys, now lunch number 1 is all about meatballs, specifically sweet and sour meatballs. And to make packing lunch super easy, I actually made these last night for dinner because packing leftovers for lunch the next day is definitely a time saver and a budget saver too. Now I'll go ahead and put the exact recipe to these sweet and sour meatballs in the description box below, but basically I just use some frozen meatballs. Then I mixed together a little bit of brown sugar, vinegar, soy sauce, and pineapple juice, and I just dumped that over and cooked it on high for a couple of hours. Then when I'm ready to add it into my lunch the next day, I just heat it up in the microwave, get it nice and piping hot. And I always like to add a little bit of white rice or brown rice to my thermos before I add in the meatballs. I think these go so well together, and the rice really helps to soak up some of that delicious sweet and sour sauce. Now to go along with this, I'm also going to be packing lots of fruits and veggies. I'm adding in half a kiwi, 1 mandarin orange, some cherry tomatoes, some cucumbers, and for the sweet treat, I'm adding just a few Rice Krispie treat balls that I rolled in sprinkles. Now to finish off this lunch, I'm also going to be adding in a bag of cheddar flavored popcorners. Let me know in the comments down below if you've ever tried popcorners. They happen to be one of my favorite snacks. And then for the drink, I'm just adding in a cute tiny little apple juice box. Now for today's lunch, I'm going to throw together a classic combo that's actually pretty quick to throw together. I'm going to be taking some help from the store here for sure. For each of the kids, I'm going to start by making a grilled cheese sandwich. And this is actually going to be a 3-cheese grilled cheese. And I know this might sound weird, but I like to add a little bit of cream cheese first. then a slice of cheddar, and now I'm going to top it with some mozzarella cheese. That cream cheese in there really helps everything to melt together, and it's so nice and creamy. So now I'm going to get these into my panini press. I'm going to spray a little bit of butter on there and then cook them till they're crispy. Now to go along with this grilled cheese, I'm also going to be sending some tomato basil soup. So that means it's time to dig out the thermoses. Now of course I am a little bit biased, but right now my favorite are the Bunches of Lunches thermoses. They're a little bit bigger, they're easier for the kids to open, they come with a built-in spoon, and the top part can also be used as a bowl. Now anytime I want to send food in a thermos, I do like to preheat these first. Now I know I've mentioned this before, but in case you're new, I just take a little bit of really hot, almost boiling water. I just pour it into each thermos and then I close it up. Now this water is just going to hang out in here while I'm heating up the soup. Then I will dump out the water, and because the container's warmed up, it's going to help the soup stay hot as well. And you guys, I'm totally taking a shortcut today. I'm just using some store-bought tomato basil soup. It's already ready to go. I just have to heat it up. Now here's a question I get all the time when I pack grilled cheese, and that is, does it stay hot in the lunchbox? And no, it definitely does not stay hot in the lunchbox. But here's what I like to do. I'll actually take the grilled cheese sandwich and cut it into sticks. So nice, long, narrow pieces. Then at lunchtime, the kids can actually open up their nice hot soup and then dip their room temperature sandwich in it, and it kind of warms up the sandwich, and it's a really good combination. Trust me, you gotta try it. Now to go along with the grilled cheese, I also added in some milk. For the vegetable, I added a combination of carrots and sugar snap peas. For the fruit, I added grapes with a few raspberries. And then for the snack today, they're having goldfish crackers. And to drink, again, they're having water. Okay guys, now this next lunch is totally inspired by my youngest child, Griffin, who absolutely loves mac and cheese. Specifically, the deluxe mac and cheese. So I'm gonna go with this one today. And of course, after the noodles are all cooked and drained, I'm just going to add in the cheese. And then, using my funnel, I'm going to add it into the food jar. Now to go along with this mac and cheese, I'm also going to be adding in some celery sticks. And instead of packing ranch to go along with them, I'm going to add this little container of peanut butter instead. For the fruit in this lunch, I decided to go with some pineapple, so I'm going to fit as much as I can in here. And then over on the side, something extra special, I'm going to be adding in some strawberry shortcake popcorn. Doesn't that look so good? I'm just going to fill this side section with the popcorn. Now as an added snack for this lunch, I'm also going to add in an apple cinnamon fig bar. And then for the drink, I'm adding in an apple juice pouch. Now this is definitely a lunch that Griffin would like, but pretty much all of my kids would love this lunch. Now, full disclaimer, you guys, these are not super authentic burritos or anything like that, but my kids like them this way, so that's what I'm going to make. Now, of course, the main ingredient in these bean and cheese burritos are the beans, and you can really use any kind of refried bean that you prefer. For this recipe, I'm going with the traditional. I'm going to go ahead and add this to my mixing bowl. Then I'm going to season up these beans with just a little bit of taco seasoning, about a quarter cup or so. And then I'm also going to be adding some mild salsa. Now all I have to do is mix this all together. Next, I want to create a little assembly line for these burritos. And one of the things that's going to make this a lot easier is to have my tortillas nice and hot and ready to go. I use this tortilla warmer. I just pop this into the microwave for about 45 seconds, and as long as I keep the lid on, they stay nice and warm while I'm building the burritos. Now I'm going to start with a nice big scoop of beans. I love using my ice cream scoop for this because it makes all of the burritos the same size. I just spread them out a little bit, and then I add plenty of cheese. At this point, I'm just gonna add more of that mild salsa, and that's all there is to it. Like I said, these burritos are super simple, but my kids love them. Once I have all of my burritos rolled up, it's time for the flash freeze. Now, just like the sliders I made before, I don't want to have to individually wrap all of these burritos, but you definitely could if you wanted to. Instead, I'm just going to add them to my cookie sheet and stick the whole tray in the freezer for about 30 minutes. After that, these burritos are frozen enough that when I put them in the freezer bag, they don't stick together. Now, you can store these in your freezer for several weeks, but I know they're not gonna last that long in my freezer. Now, to reheat these burritos, all you have to do is remove however many you need from the bag. And then what I like to do is actually wrap the burrito in a paper towel before I put it in the microwave. That way, any of the extra moisture coming off the burrito gets absorbed by the paper towel. Usually about 60 seconds in the microwave will do the trick. So for the kids' lunches today, I'm going to throw together something I know they're going to love. It's like the easiest kind of pizza that you can make. For this, I'm going to be using some bagel skinnies, which is basically the same thing as bagel thins, and my kids don't mind eating them at room temperature. So I've just added a little bit of sauce, mozzarella cheese, and some cut up turkey pepperoni. Now I'm going to pop these into the oven for about 10 minutes, and while those are cooking, it's time to prepare the fruit. Now it's actually been a long time since we've had kiwi, so I recently picked them up at the store. Now for these kiwis, I'm going to go ahead and just trim off the ends, peel them, slice them into kind of thick slices, and then very quickly using my flower-shaped cookie cutter, I'm just going to punch out them cute little flowers. Now I'm not sure that all the kids will like the kiwi, so I'm also going to throw in a few strawberries as well. And very quickly I'm just cutting the tops off in a V shape, and then I'm slicing them down the center so that they kind of look like hearts. For the veggie today, I'm going to be adding in some carrots. Now for this, I started with whole carrots. I peeled them, and then I used my crinkle cutter to make these look like carrot fries, and I think the kids will like them. So now that the pizzas are done and cooled down just a bit, I can add them to the lunch boxes along with our fruits and our veggie. I'm going to add in a little container of ranch because I know the kids will love to dip their little carrot fries in the ranch. Now for snack today, I have something I know they're going to love. I picked up a 4-pack of the drinkable yogurt things. These are the strawberry flavor. It's been quite a while since I purchased these, so I think they're going to be excited to see them. And then you guessed it, for their drink, they're just taking water, but I do have a really fun drink planned for tomorrow. Now that brings me to a lunch idea that seems fancy, but it's actually really easy because I'm taking some help from the store. I'm making some butter chicken with rice. Now this is definitely something you could make the night before, but it's actually so quick and easy that you could just make it for lunch that day. So as you can see, I just browned up some chicken. Then I'm just taking this jar of butter chicken sauce. This is nice and flavorful, but it's still really mild. It's not spicy at all. And I'm just going to pour it over the chicken and add on the lid. This is called simmering sauce. So the idea is that the chicken will simmer in the sauce for only about 10 minutes and then it's good to go. So to the food jar, I'm going to first add a little bit of steamed rice. Then I'm going to get plenty of that delicious butter chicken on top. For the fruit in this lunch, I decided to go with some fresh mango. And for the vegetables, I'm actually doubling up on some cucumber. I did go ahead and remove 50% of the skin on here. I think this looks really cool. And then right next to the cucumber, I'm also going to be adding in some cauliflower. And I did go ahead and lightly steam this, so it's a little bit softened, and I did add a little bit of salt and pepper for seasoning. And then on the side, I'm also adding in a little yogurt pouch. and some fruit punch for the drink. Now, I hope you found these hot lunch ideas helpful. I would love to know in the comments down below what your favorite hot lunch is if you're packing it to go to school. Now, for today's lunch, I wanted to do something a little bit easier, something that really doesn't require much cooking at all. In fact, I actually started today's lunch last night, and that's because I knew I wanted to add in some hard-boiled eggs. Some of my kids like them, some not so much. But with my picky eaters, I like to offer the foods over and over again in hopes that sometime they might change their mind and actually decide they like it. Who knows? That happens sometimes. So one of the reasons I like to hard boil my eggs the night before or a couple days before is it definitely saves time in the morning. But another reason is I love to use these little egg molds. Some of these are from Daiso, the Japanese dollar store, and the more colorful ones I found on Amazon. Now for these eggs, what I like to do is add them to my Instant Pot. I'll add a little bit of water in there, and then I usually cook them for about 4 minutes. That way they're not completely dry on the inside, but they're not runny either. Once the 4 minutes is up, I do a quick release, and then as soon as I take them out of the Instant Pot, I add them to a bowl with ice water. That way the cooking stops immediately, and the yolk won't get all dried out in that weird green color. If you've ever overcooked your egg, you'll know what I'm talking about. So now for these molds, all I have to do is go ahead and peel the egg, and then fit them right down inside. Sometimes it's tricky if your eggs are too big, they might not fit in the mold. I try not to use jumbo eggs for this, just your regular standard size works pretty well. So once I have all of my eggs in my molds, I like to put them in another container before I stick them into the fridge. And these can really just hang out in the fridge all week long, and we can grab them whenever we need them. Definitely a good meal prep option. So now that these eggs have had time to sit in their molds overnight, I can go ahead and pop them out and throw them into our lunches. Now, as you can see, some of the eggs don't turn out perfectly shaped, but they're still really fun and unique. Now, you could go ahead and put these in the lunchbox whole, but what I like to do is cut them in half and sprinkle a little bit of salt on top. Not pepper, my kids do not like pepper, but they do like a good pinch of sea salt. Now I'm gonna very quickly grab out my silicone molds and get everything else into the lunchbox as quickly as I can, which I should be able to do because everything else for this lunch is pretty much ready to go as is. In this front section, I'm gonna add a scoop of pretzels. These are the really fun square pretzels. Those are super tasty. To go along with these pretzels, I'm also adding in a little wedge of Laughing Cow cheese. And then come lunchtime, the kids can actually open up their cheese and then use their pretzel to scoop it up. It's a really tasty combination. And it looks like it's gonna fit perfectly in this lunchbox, which is awesome. For their fruit today, something I know they're gonna be super excited to see, I'm gonna be adding in some applesauce cups. Now these are actually the unsweetened cinnamon applesauce, which is their favorite. And then in this back section, I'm gonna go ahead and throw in some baby carrots. Those are great when you're in a hurry because you don't have to cut them, they're already ready to go. And then for snack today, I'm adding in one mini banana muffin. I'd like to say that I made these myself, but I totally just bought them at Walmart pre-made. Definitely a time-saving option in the mornings when you're in a hurry. To dress these eggs up a bit, I'll go ahead and add in some little eye picks. That's really quick to do. And then I'm pretty sure I have at least one, maybe two kids that will not touch their carrots if I don't send ranch. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this yogurt-based ranch. This is definitely our favorite these days. And I'm just gonna put a little bit in each little sauce container, and then it'll fit right down inside with the carrots. And then finally, since it is Friday, I let each of the kids pick out whatever drink they wanted. Lily chose a fruit punch Paw Patrol, Jackson chose Darth Vader with fruit punch, and then Mackenzie chose a My Little Pony. Don't ask me which one, because I've already forgotten the name. Now because these lunches have hard-boiled eggs in them, I'm gonna go ahead and throw in an ice pack just to be on the safe side, and then all that's left to do is pack it all up. And now I do want to mention one thing we learned with these bento boxes is they actually fit in our lunch bags better if we stand them up like this. Now yes, some of the food will move on the inside of the lunchbox, but it's really no big deal. I'm not really worried about things spilling since the applesauce is in a cup and the ranch is in a separate cup too. Next up, some DIY uncrustables. Now, I think that making your own is super easy and can also save you a ton of money. And you guys, if your school doesn't allow peanut butter, definitely try a nut-free spread instead. Now, to make my own uncrustable sandwiches, I am going to be using some of these sandwich makers. I get these on Amazon. They come in all different shapes and sizes. But if you don't have any of these cutters, you can also try using the ring of a canning jar, or you can also try using the rim of a drinking glass. Now, my number one tip for DIY uncrustables is to start by using a good quality bread. Since these sandwiches are going to go in the freezer and then they're going to defrost, you definitely want a bread that's going to hold up. Now, for the strawberry version, I'm going to use the heart-shaped cutter. And before I fill the sandwiches, I'm actually going to be cutting out all of the bread. Now, I like to do it this way, that way I can save all of the crusts for something that's coming later. Now, my next tip for making DIY uncrustables is to actually add a thin layer of peanut butter to both sides of the bread. Once you have your peanut butter on, then you can add the jelly. So basically, having peanut butter on both sides keeps the jelly in the center. That way the jelly's not touching the bread, getting it all soggy. And now at this point, all I have to do is seal them up, and this takes a little bit of muscle. You really want to press down as hard as you can on the edges to get a nice seal. Now at this point, I'm going to repeat this entire process, but this time instead of strawberry jam, I'm going to be using grape jelly. And so that we can easily tell the difference between the strawberry sandwiches and the grape sandwiches, I'm using the round cutter. Now again, because I don't want to have to individually wrap these sandwiches, but I don't want them to stick together, I am going to flash freeze them. Now these will stay good in your freezer for several weeks. But honestly, when it comes to freezer meals, I like to make smaller batches. That way they don't take up a ton of space in my freezer, and I don't have to worry about using them before they get freezer burned. Now, when it comes time to fill your lunchbox, all you're gonna have to do is pull a sandwich directly from the freezer and put it in your box. These will be completely defrosted by lunchtime. Now, you guys, I know I'm gonna get a ton of questions about what I do with the leftover bread, and don't worry, it doesn't get wasted. What I love to do is turn them into a French toast bake. I just add all the crusts to a baking pan and I break them up into little pieces. To this, I add about 8 eggs mixed with 1.5 cups of milk, some sugar, some vanilla, and some cinnamon. Once I have that all whisked together, I pour it all over the breadcrumbs, and then I like to mix it in really well just to make sure that all of the bread is coated in the egg mixture. Next, I bake this at 350 for about 25 to 30 minutes. This comes out super fluffy and delicious. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, would totally recommend. First up is a lunch idea from Rebecca, and she requested an ABC themed lunch perfect for back to school. For this lunch, our ingredients are going to be in alphabetical order. So for the letter A, I'm going to be adding some American cheese. I'm going to put this cheese into a school bus shaped sandwich. Now to make this look even more like a school bus, I'm going to use a food writer pen and an extra layer of American cheese to decorate the top of the sandwich. Next, for the letter B, Rebecca asked for bananas. And then I'm also going to throw in a whole banana a little bit later. Now, also for the letter B, I'm adding in some blueberries. For letter C, Rebecca requested a combination of cucumbers and carrots. For a snack on the side, and for the letter D, I'm adding some Doritos, the Cool Ranch flavor to be exact. For her sweet treat, and for the letter E, Rebecca requested either a dessert called Eatin' Mess, which, if you've never heard of that before, is a traditional English dessert. But for this lunch, I'm going the easier route, which is Rebecca's number 2 choice, and that is an eclair. And yes, these do look a little bit melty because they are. Here in Florida where I am, it's still quite hot and humid. And now, finally, for the drink, I have a couple of different F choices. I have orange Fanta or fruit punch. You guys, this was such a fun lunch to make. I'm going to go ahead and pack it up and hand it off to my son Griffin to enjoy. Okay guys, this next lunch idea comes from Raven Girl 92, and as you can probably tell, this lunch is for a peanut butter lover. And do you know which animal loves peanuts? If you guessed elephants, then you'd be right. For the main course, Raven Girl 92 requested a peanut butter and banana sandwich. So of course, I'm gonna go ahead and make that in the form of an elephant. For her fruit, I'm going to use my crinkle cutter to cut up this apple. And to keep these slices from turning brown, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of lemon juice all over the top. Next, for the veggie, I'm adding some celery, which of course goes really well with peanut butter. And to one of these, I'm also going to add a few carrots. Now you guys, to go along with the apples, I'm going to combine some vanilla Greek yogurt and some smooth honey roasted peanut butter. Now I know that might sound a little bit strange, but trust me, when you dip the apples in here, it's such a tasty combination. Now, for a bit of a salty snack, Raven Girl 92 requested peanut butter filled pretzels. All of my kids love these. And then for a sweet treat, I'm going to throw in one of these chocolate peanut butter filled bars. And you guys, these taste just like peanut butter brownies. They're really good. And then finally, for the drink, I'm just adding in some water. This peanut lover's lunch is going to my son, Jackson, today. I'm going to be making this with my son Griffin in mind. I'm going to start by putting together one of Griffin's favorite sandwiches, which is just cheese. And although he's not actually taking a bus to school this year, I thought it would be super cute to make his cheese sandwich look like a school bus. For the fruit in this lunch, I'm going with these green grapes, but since these are kind of giant grapes, I am going to go ahead and slice them in half. Now, Griffin is kind of picky about his veggies these days, but he does like carrot, so I'm just going to cut these into little crinkle sticks.
Now don't forget the ranch.
Now to go with this lunch, I'm going to put together a little snack mix on the side using this berry flavored Sesame Street cereal. And to this, I'm going to be adding some freeze-dried strawberries. This snack mix is super simple and it's nut-free. Next, since Griffin loves yogurt, I'm going to be adding some Greek vanilla yogurt to this section of the lunchbox. Now, since this is a back to school themed lunch, I picked up these really cute sugar cookies. I love the cute little apple and the school buses on the front of them, but I have to say they feel kind of hard, so hopefully Griffin will still like them. For the drink, I'm adding a tiny Sesame Street apple juice. And then for all the kids, they're also going to be getting a water bottle as well. Then last but not least, I'll add in the lunchbox note. And you guys, these ones are so cute. I actually found them on Etsy. I will link the shop down below. You can just print out whatever one you want, cut it out, and throw it in the lunchbox. And for Griffin, I decided to go with this one. It says, "Call me cheesy, but I think you're great." Okay, Griffin, let's see. Ooh, what'd you think?
My favorite part was the yogurt and the sandwich. The cookie was way too hard.
For lunch idea number 2, I'm using a Yum Box. Now, I love these lunch boxes as well, but I do have to say they're on the smaller side, so if you wanted to pack a lot of food, this might not be the box for you. And you guys, even though I wash these by hand, over time the design does tend to wear off a bit. Now, since I'm making this lunch with my daughter Lily in mind, I'll be using the purple Yum Box. And for her main course, I have a special surprise, unicorn waffles. A couple of weeks ago, I made a rainbow pop-it themed lunch and all the kids love that so much. I decided to make the pink pastel version of that for today's lunch. To turn this into a waffle sandwich, I'm adding Lily's favorite PB&J. This one has the peanut butter and the jelly swirled together. And you guys, if you want to make this for yourself, but your school is nut-free, you could try using cream cheese instead, or you could make this using a nut-free butter. Next comes the pop-it decorations. And you guys, this time I'm using some strawberry yogurt raisins. And check it out, you guys. This turned out so cute. I think Lily is going to love it. For Lily's fruit, I have a new applesauce for her to try. Now, I found these at Walmart, and they're actually a mixture of apple and strawberry, and I think they are so cute with Anna and Elsa on the outside. For Lily's veggie, I'm adding in some slices of cucumber, and right on top, I'm adding just a few little pieces of carrot to spell out her name.
And don't forget the ranch.
In the back section of Lily's lunchbox, I'm adding some of the same Greek vanilla yogurt that I put in Griffin's lunch, but this time I'm adding a few decorations. And then on the side, I'm adding a small snack container of goldfish. For her drink, she'll have her water bottle and this Olaf Good to Grow in the grape flavor. For Lily's lunch, I decided to go with this lunchbox note, and it says, "I love you a waffle lot." Okay guys, now that brings me to the bonus lunch of the week, and this one's requested by Scoopy Pants. And you guys, they requested a pink Hello Kitty themed lunch and even made sure to say please in Japanese at the end.
Onegaishimasu.
Now for this Hello Kitty lunch, I'm definitely going with a breakfast for lunch theme, and I'm going to start by making a quick mug omelet first. Now to this microwave safe mug, I'm going to crack 2 eggs. Next, I'll add a splash of milk, some salt and pepper, then whisk it all together. Now of course, this would be good just as is, but I like a fancier omelet, so I'm also going to add in some chopped bell peppers, some grated cheese, and then some green onion. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this in the microwave for about 1.5 minutes. And there it is, you guys, an easy mug omelet. Now to go along with this, I'm also going to make 2 of the cutest Hello Kitty waffles. And I am gonna go ahead and make these pink as well. Next, I'm going to be adding in plenty of fruit, strawberries, kiwis, and blueberries. And then on the side, I'm going to be adding in some cucumbers. Now this little center area is the perfect place for some strawberry yogurt. I have just enough space for some very special peach flavored Kit Kats. Now last but not least, for the drink, I'm just going to be adding in some water, and then that's all there is to it. And you guys, this lunch is actually going to be for me. Lunch number 4, I'm making for my daughter Mackenzie, and this time I'm using an Omnibox. Now, I get questions about Omniboxes all the time, and I have to say they are another great option, but definitely on the pricier side. Now, I do love that these have a built-in thermos, but they can also be kind of heavy and difficult to open for some kids. For Mackenzie's main course, I'm not going to need the thermos part, and that's because I'm making her some cute DIY uncrustables. On Amazon, you can find lots of these sealed sandwich makers. They come in lots of different shapes and sizes, and you don't have to just fill them with peanut butter. In fact, since egg salad is Mackenzie's favorite, that's what I'm putting in hers. Now, the trick to these is to actually cut the bread out first. Next, I'm going to gently press down in the center, just on this piece, and this is to create extra space for our filling. Now I'm going to place the other bread on top, and using the sealing part, I'm going to press the two pieces together. The idea is to get a nice tight seal, but to not tear the bread at the same time. For Mackenzie's fruit, I'm going with some heart-shaped strawberries. For her veggie, I'm adding some cucumber slices. And I'm going to stuff them with carrots. Then for this lunch, I have a very special treat from Japan. These mini snacks are actually shaped like ice cream cones, and they're filled with a delicious light and bubbly chocolate filling. You guys have to let me know in the comments down below if you've ever tried these before. Next, for Mackenzie's drink, other than water, I'm adding in some strawberry milk. And for her lunchbox note, I'm going with, "I love you very much." Morning guys, and happy Thursday. I am super excited about today's lunch because it just happens to be one of my favorite foods that I'm hoping my kids will like too. This is going to be a hot lunch, so I'm using the Omnibox today. Again, I haven't used these lunch boxes in a while, but this is the kind that has the built-in thermos. This is perfect for keeping hot foods hot until lunchtime. And speaking of hot foods, today I'm going to be making some Japanese-style curry rice. Now, yesterday was actually my birthday, and if you're already following me over on Instagram, you'll probably already know what I did for my birthday. But basically, after the kids got out of school, we all headed to Epcot. We went on the Frozen ride and we went on Soarin'. And I also picked up lots of my favorite Japanese treats. So one of the things I picked up from Epcot was this curry mix. And believe it or not, this is actually really quick and pretty easy to put together. Today I'm using 1 pound of chicken thighs that I cut into bite-sized pieces. I'm also using some diced potato, some diced carrots, and about half of this onion, also diced. So now to make this curry, I'm going to start by adding a little bit of oil to my large pot. I'm going to go ahead and swirl this oil around the pan just to make sure it's completely coated. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add in my chicken, give that a stir, and now basically I'm just going to follow the directions that are on the back of my curry box. So that means I'm going to dump in all of the veggies, and I'm going to go ahead and cook this on medium for about 5 minutes. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and add in some water, and I'm going to wait for this to come to a boil. And now I wanted to give you guys a closer look at this curry paste in case you've never seen it. This is definitely a Japanese style curry. So as you can see, this comes in kind of a brick like this. And because I want my kids to eat this, I did go ahead and get the mild version, although you can get spicy and that is delicious as well. Okay guys, so this has been boiling for about 20 minutes, and at this point I'm going to go ahead and test the veggies. I'm going to go ahead and use a carrot to kind of poke the fork to make sure that's tender, and I'm also going to be checking the potatoes as well. I want them to be soft, but I don't want them to be falling apart because I don't like them to be mushy in my curry. So now at this point I'm going to go ahead and break up these little pieces of curry paste, and I'm just going to throw them directly into the pot. I'm going to go ahead and stir this all up and let it cook for another 5 minutes or so, or until it's nice and thickened. Now you guys, this is smelling so good, and it's bringing back a lot of memories. Now a lot of you guys probably already know I spent time at a university in Japan, and at my dorm cafeteria they used to make these huge pots of curry for dinner, and it would make the entire dormitory smell so good. Now usually when they made curry they would either use pork or beef, but there were a couple of occasions where instead they used clams, and I always was so disappointed because even though I love curry, I am not a huge fan of clams. So on those days, I definitely would not eat at the cafeteria. So now that the curry is done, I'm going to go ahead and get it into the thermos section of the lunchbox. While the curry was cooking, I also cooked up some rice in my Instant Pot. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of that in there as well. And now that that's done, I have a few more things I want to add. For our fruit today, I'm just going to add in some grapes and a few strawberries. I'm keeping it super simple here. I'm going to add in one of my little Japanese bento picks. This one is a cute little giraffe. And then over here in the back section, I'm going to go ahead and fill it up with some edamame. All of my kids love this. This comes in the pod and it's pre-salted, so it's ready to go. My kids think it's really fun to pop out the little beans and eat them just like that. And then for the sweet treat today, I'm also going to be adding in some mochi. Now I know I've shared this with you guys on this channel before, but this is definitely our favorite. These ones are actually fruit flavored. The kids love them. These are soft and chewy and just a little bit sweet. This kind from Epcot comes with a strawberry, a peach, a pineapple, and a mango flavor. So I'm gonna go ahead and add just 2 pieces of mochi per lunch. I think that is plenty. And then on the side, I'm also going to be adding in one of my favorite Japanese snacks, which is senbei. But we've never actually tried this brand before. Now you guys will have to let me know in the comments down below if you know the name of the character on the outside of this bag. This character is actually really old in Japan. In fact, he's been around since like the 70s. So I know who he is, but I'd like to see how many of you guys know. So like I said, these are senbei, but it looks like these are just little tiny ones. And they come in these really cute packages, which are perfect for throwing into lunches. And if you've never had a senbei before, it's basically a really delicious, kind of salty rice cracker. For the kids' drink today, they're definitely taking their water bottles, but I also have one more drink that I wanted them to try. I picked up just one bottle of this Peekaboo drink. This is another classic Japanese drink, and the flavor is kind of hard to explain. This is not a carbonated drink at all. This drink is actually made from milk, but it doesn't taste like milk. I'd say it's kind of a sweet and tangy flavor with just a little bit of citrus. Now, I actually think it's really good, but I'm not sure if my kids will like it. I'm gonna go ahead and put some in these little drink containers. I found these at Target recently, and they're kind of like a reusable juice box. You can put whatever kind of beverage you want inside, and they claim to be leak-proof, but I'm not quite sure how leak-proof they're going to be. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put a little bit in here and the kids can give it a try. And there you have it, guys. There's everything in today's lunch. This is definitely one of my favorites. I'm hoping the kids will like it too. Next up is a very colorful lunch idea sent in by Bagel. And you guys, for this one, I'm going to be putting together some meat-free rainbow nachos. Now, starting with the chips first. I've had this bag of red, white, and blue corn chips in my pantry since the 4th of July. So that's what I'm going to use.
Since the 4th of July. That sounds stale and super sus.
Yes, I know these are kind of old, but they were never opened or anything, so they're still nice and fresh. And I'm just going to be using the red ones. The next color in the rainbow is orange. So for that, I'm going to start by preheating our thermos with some boiling hot water. That way, the orange nacho cheese can stay nice and hot until lunchtime. Now, I do have a really easy homemade nacho cheese recipe. I'll go ahead and link that down below for you if you want to make it from scratch. But these lunches are all about being easy, so instead, I'm just using some store-bought stuff. Then after I dump out the hot water, I can pour it into the thermos. Now moving on to yellow, and for this, I've gotta go with corn. Now, I kid you not, you guys, I've had this song stuck in my head for at least 3 days now, and I'm not really that mad about it. It's very catchy. The next color on the rainbow is green. So on the side here, I'm going to mix up some lettuce and some spinach to make a little side salad. And I'm going to add even more toppings to this side salad in just a minute. After green, of course, comes blue, so that means it's time for some blueberries. And then you guys, since there's not really a lot of purple foods out there, for the purple color in this lunch, I'm going to be adding this delicious purple smoothie. For a sweet treat, I'm also going to be throwing in this rainbow sugar cookie. Now, I get these at Target, and I have to warn you, they're a little bit on the crunchy side. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pack up this lunch and hand it off to my daughter, Mackenzie, so it can be her lunch today. Ooh, this was a messy one. What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was the waffle.
What was your least favorite part?
The raisins.
Oh, I think I could tell. There's quite a lot of raisins left. Good job.
Yay!
Okay guys, now that brings me to lunch idea number 3, and this time I'm using a reusable Ziploc lunch container. And you guys, if you're looking for a budget-friendly lunchbox option, this would be my recommendation. I usually find mine at Target and they're only a couple of dollars. Now, I'm making this lunch with my son Jackson in mind, and for his main course, I'm putting together my version of a pizza Lunchable. For the pizza crust, I'm going to be using these non-bread rounds. Now, I love these for DIY Lunchables because this bread is super soft and delicious. But if you can't find this bread, you could also use some bagel thins or even some good old Ritz crackers. To get these to fit better into the lunchbox, I did go ahead and cut them in half. And then, of course, you can't have a pizza Lunchable without a little bit of sauce, some shredded mozzarella cheese, and some pepperoni. Next, it's time for some watermelon. And then for the veggie, I'm adding just a few celery sticks with, you guessed it, the ranch. On the side, I'm adding a blueberry fig bar. These are super tasty and convenient. And for his drink, I'm adding a lemonade Capri Sun, and he'll have his water bottle as well. And then last but not least, for Jackson's lunchbox note, I went with this one. It says, "I love you to pizzas." For today's lunch, I went with a back to school theme with lots of ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. For today's sandwich, I went ahead and made a regular PB&J, but to make it really cute, I used my apple-shaped cookie cutter. And then for some added fun, I took a straw and I poked a hole into each sandwich. And then I stuck half of a gummy worm in each sandwich. So it looks like the little worm is coming out of our apple sandwich. To go along with this, I'm also giving the kids some Baby Bell cheese. And I'm using my mini cookie cutters to cut the wax off of the top. Now we're left with the 1, 2, and 3. Super cute and easy. In this back corner, I'm giving the kids some Cheez-It crackers, and these are the Scrabble version of the crackers, and so they each have a letter on them, which is perfect for today's lunch. And then in this other corner, I have a very special back-to-school treat. These are easy to make, but they do take a little bit of time, so I actually made these the night before. But they're really easy, even your kids could help you make them. All you need is a wafer cookie, and I went ahead and cut each end to a point. Then using some melted chocolates, I added a little pink on the end to look like the pencil's eraser. And then on the tip of the pencil, I used a little bit of white chocolate topped with a chocolate chip to look like the pencil's lead. I had seen this idea a lot on Pinterest and I always wanted to try it, and I think it came out really cute. I'm also giving the kids some cucumbers today. This is a really big cucumber, so I was able to use my little number cookie cutters to cut out the center. And then in this last section, I'm going to give the kids some melon balls. This is actually cantaloupe. I'm going to throw in some special picks for the melon balls. These all have letters on them, perfect for today's lunch. For today's lunch, I have a pineapple, flamingo, and cactus theme. I found these cookie cutters at Michael's and I just thought they were so cute. Now for today's lunch, I'm making another PB&J. These sandwiches came out super cute, but they were really easy. To make these sandwiches, all you have to do is use 1 piece of white bread and 1 piece of wheat bread. Use your cookie cutter to cut out the center and then swap the 2 pieces out. To go along with this, I'm also giving the kids some poppables. This is kind of like a potato chip, but it's a cheese flavored one. For our vegetable today, I'm packing lots of sugar snap peas. And then in the smaller container, I'm also giving the kids some slices of cheese. And I went ahead and used my pineapple cutter to make them look super cute. And then for our fruit today, I'm giving the kids a combination of watermelon and blueberries. And for the watermelon, I used my Flamingo cookie cutter. For today's lunch, I started by making some bagel sandwiches. For this, I used some plain mini bagels, and then I added some vegetable cream cheese. And then to make it really fun, I added googly eyes to each sandwich. In this back corner, I'm giving the kids a little peanut snack. I get these at Trader Joe's and they are so good. And these are not like a sweet snack. For the vegetable today, I'm giving the kids some carrots, and I made them look really fun using my crinkle cutter. And then for a special treat today, I'm also including some yogurt pretzels, but these are strawberry yogurt flavored. They're really good. Now in this compartment, I'm also going to give the kids some yogurt. This is a Greek yogurt in the vanilla flavor. And then on the opposite side, I'm going to pack it full of fruit, strawberries and blueberries. Those go so well with yogurt. Hi guys, and welcome to Friday. We made it through the first week of school. So we're kind of having a party today with pizza for our lunch. Now lots of times we like to make our own pizza, but when I'm short on time, I like to buy the ones ready-made from Trader Joe's. They are so good. Now one pizza is probably going to be quite a lot for one kid, so if there's any leftovers, they can have it for an after-school snack. Now since we are having pizza, I'm going to give the kids some black olives. I think those go really well together. I'm also going to throw in some sugar snap peas. I want to try to use those all up before they go bad. And then for the fruit today, I'm also going to give them some grapes. For a special treat today, I'm also giving the kids some fruit snacks. These are the Annie's fruit snacks, and they're actually Halloween ones. And then I also have a special drink, and today we went with Minions. Hey guys, and welcome to Monday. Can you guess what our theme is today? That's right, it's Mickey Mouse. We love Mickey Mouse so much. This Monday, I'm marking the return of PB&J Monday, but I'm not just gonna make any PB&J. I'm gonna try using this sandwich stamp and crust cutter. I can't remember if I bought this at Disneyland or Disney World, but it's been sitting in my garage for quite a while, and I'm finally going to give it a try. And for today's PB&J, I'm going with the classic chunky peanut butter with strawberry jam. Now before I cut the crust off the sandwich, I'm supposed to use the stamp first, but I know if I use my food writer pen on the stamp first, the stamp should work a lot better. So I'm gonna stamp that right down in there, then use the crust cutter, and there it is. The stamp did work, but the crust cutter not so much. To go along with our PB&J today, I'm also going to add some celery sticks with a little container of natural peanut butter to dip in. And then for our fruit, I found these really cute Mickey Mouse apples. These are actually just Gala apples from Costco, but they do have really fun Disney stickers on them. I'll go ahead and slice these up and sprinkle a little bit of lemon juice on them just so they won't turn brown as fast. And these apple slices are going to be really good for dipping in the peanut butter as well. Next, I'm going to add some veggie chips, but these are actually Mickey-shaped veggie chips. These chips are made of broccoli, carrots, potatoes, tomatoes, and beets, but they're actually really tasty, and they're gluten-free too. But honestly, the thing I like most about them is that they're cute. To go along with that, I also have a new kind of yogurt snack for the kids to try. These are the Go-Gurt Dunkers. The kids have never had them before. It's basically low-fat vanilla yogurt with graham cracker sticks. And then last but not least, I'm also throwing in some apple juice. And yes, I picked the kind with Mickey Mouse on them too. And there you have it, a very fun but easy Mickey-themed lunch. Hey there, Fudgies, and welcome to Tuesday. Today I'm packing a hot lunch, but today's lunch is also nut-free. I'm gonna start by heating up some really good hot dogs. These are uncured all-beef hot dogs, and before I heat them up, I like to cut them in half. That way they fit much easier in my kids' thermoses. I can add them right in there and they will definitely stay hot until lunchtime. And since I cut their hot dog in half, I'm also gonna cut their bun in half. That way they can make 2 little hot dogs for their lunch. And the bun fits much better in my lunchbox too. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I love to have ketchup and mustard with my hot dogs, and so do my kids. So I've added a little bit to these squeezy containers from the Dollar Tree. Next, I'm gonna add lots of cucumbers. And for our fruit today, I'm keeping it super simple. I'm gonna throw in some diced peaches. Next, I'm gonna throw in a yogurt tube, but these are actually new. I just found these at Target the other day. These are made by Chobani brand, so they're actually Greek yogurt. They have a little bit less sugar in them, and these are in the cherry flavor. so we shall see if they like them or not. For a special treat today, I'm gonna throw in this tiny bag of mini Oreos, but my kids will definitely be happy to see them. And then last but not least, I'm also gonna throw in some really fun juice bottles. These ones have the PJ Masks characters on them. Just don't ask me what their characters' names are because honestly, I don't know. Hey guys, and welcome to Wednesday. Today, I'm making another hot lunch for the kids, but for today's lunch, I'm gonna start by reheating some leftover potato soup. This is a loaded baked potato soup. I have a really good recipe. I'll go ahead and link it down below if you'd like to check it out. It's basically a copycat recipe from the Disneyland potato soup. For our fruit today, I'm gonna add a scoop of green grapes, and I'll go ahead and put a cute little elephant pick in there just for fun. For our vegetable, I'm gonna add some crinkle cut carrots. To go along with this lunch today, I'm also gonna give the kids a really fun snack, which is popcorn. And I'm also gonna throw in another new kind of yogurt for the kids to try. Hashtag not sponsored. I found these ones at Target as well. These are also the Chobani brand, and these actually claim to be a yogurt milkshake. So they might be a little bit thicker, I'm guessing. And these ones are really interesting too because they come with a straw. Most yogurt drinks don't. For a special treat today, I'm also throwing in a little package of Nutter Butters. Now, I actually prefer Nutter Butters over Oreo cookies. You'll have to let me know what you like best. I'll go ahead and put a poll right up here, and you can let me know. And then last but not least, I'm just gonna throw in a juice pouch from Trader Joe's. And that is everything in today's lunch. Let's see how they do. Happy Thursday, guys. Today, I'm actually gonna be making Mackenzie's birthday lunch. And as you can tell, she picked out an emoji theme. And I really think she chose this because it also came with these fun squishies. And that's fine with me because I love squishies too. These ones are super slow rising and pretty fun. Now, since this is Mackenzie's birthday lunch, she picked out all of these things, starting with her favorite, egg salad. I make our egg salad pretty simple. I'm just gonna start by slicing up about 5 eggs, and then I just put a little bit of mayonnaise, salt, pepper, onion powder, and dill pickles in there. I'm gonna add the egg salad to some yummy Costco croissants. And then I am gonna go ahead and cut these in half because one would just be too much for each kid. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and add these really cute happy birthday pics right into the sandwich. This is gonna keep our sandwich closed, and hopefully the eggs will not spill out everywhere. For today's vegetable, Mackenzie requested sugar snap peas with ranch, of course. I'm not gonna forget the ranch today. For the fruit, she picked out some red grapes. I'm gonna go ahead and stick another happy birthday pic in there. And then to go along with that, I have a new chip for them to try. I know Mackenzie loves barbecue chips, and these are very similar, but these are actually an air puffed potato snack in a really fun wagon wheel shape. So they're baked, they're not fried, and they're gluten-free too. I think they sound really good. I'll go ahead and give each kid a little container full, and this container will hopefully keep them from getting crushed. For snack time today, the kids have 2 different new yogurts to choose from. Again, I found these at Target, and these are the Chobani brand. The kids can choose a cotton candy flavored one. This one has Pop Rocks in it, or a cookie flavored one. I think either flavor will be perfect for snack time. And then last but not least, I have a very special tiny treat for this birthday lunch. These are really cute vanilla cupcakes. And there you have it, a very special lunch for a very special birthday girl. Hey friends, and happy Friday! For today's fun lunch, I'm going with a Trolls theme. And today's lunch is going to be inspired by a Lunchable with a few differences. Starting with the meat of our Lunchable, today I'm using some uncured salami, and to make it really fun, I've rolled each piece up and stuck it on a pick. I'm also putting the salami in a separate container, that way it won't get our crackers all soggy. And speaking of crackers, normally I would put Ritz crackers, but today I'm gonna add some Triscuit crackers. The kids have never had these before. I think they're pretty good, so we'll see what the kids think. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a Lunchable without some cheese, so I have just a few pieces of Havarti and cheddar, which I've cut into the shape of a flower. I thought that would be perfect for our Trolls themed lunch. Next, I'm gonna add a few slices of cucumber and some baby carrots. And then for the fruit today, I'm keeping it super simple. I'm gonna throw in an applesauce pouch, but this is actually an apple strawberry flavored one. Oh yes, and I can't forget the ranch to go with our veggies. And then, since the kids chose the cotton candy flavored yogurt yesterday, they're gonna have the cookie flavored yogurt today. And then last but not least, some really cute Trolls drinks. But I only have one branch and one poppy, so one of the kids is gonna get Hello Kitty instead. These drinks are so fun and they're reusable. Oh yes, and I can't forget one special treat today. I found these Troll gummies at my grocery store and I thought it'd be a perfect thing to throw in there. I know Miss Lily will especially love these. For this next lunch, we're going with a flower theme, and that's because Daisy requested a flower theme, Jahilam requested a flower theme, and Bella also requested a flower theme. Starting with the main course, I'm going to put together some daisy-shaped peanut butter sandwiches and some daisy-shaped Nutella sandwiches. And you guys, I know that a lot of schools these days don't allow peanut butter at all, so if that's the case and you want to make these, you can definitely substitute the peanut butter with sun butter, wild butter, or even cream cheese. Now, moving on to the fruit. I'm going to make some strawberry roses. Now you guys, this is really easy to do. You just make little cuts all the way around the strawberry and you kind of bend them back as you're cutting them so it looks like the petal of a rose. Now you guys, this totally reminds me of the very first time I shared these in a video. That was way back almost 5 years ago now when I made a Beauty and the Beast themed lunch. Next, I'm going to add in some cucumbers and some carrots in the shape of a flower, of course. And then on the side, I'm going to be adding in some of these rice crackers with some flower-shaped cheese. For this sweet treat, I was able to find these super lemony, soft flour cookies. If you've ever had the lemon bread from Starbucks, these smell exactly the same. And then lastly, for the drink, I'm just gonna add in this can of sparkling mango drink because it has a flower on the can. And then I'm going to hand it over to my daughter Lily, who is a huge fan of flower-themed lunches. Okay guys, so since today's video is all about budget lunches, I am going to be using my favorite budget-friendly lunch boxes as well. These are the Ziploc brand divided lunch boxes, and I was able to get 2 of them for less than $2 a piece at Walmart. Now, I used to use this type of lunchbox a lot when I started making bunches of lunches videos, and I think they work really well for the price. While they're not completely leak-proof, they are pretty durable. I just recommend that you wash them by hand if you want them to stay nice for a longer amount of time. So now for the first lunch, I'm kicking things off with probably the most well-known Lunchable of all time, and that is the cheese and cracker Lunchable. Now this is definitely my son Griffin's favorite Lunchable, but I'm interested to know what your favorite Lunchable is if you have one. Let me know down below. Now at Walmart, this Lunchable right now sells for $2.38, and it comes with just a few crackers, a little bit of meat, a little bit of cheese, a sweet treat, which in this case is one single Reese's peanut butter cup, my favorite. And then this one also comes with a drink, and this is a Capri Sun in the Pacific Cooler flavor. Now, I definitely think that $2.38 is a little pricey for this amount of food, so let's see if I can make basically the same lunch for a lot less. And I'm also going to be using some of these reusable silicone liners. I think these are really great because they're reusable, and I really like that it separates out your more moist foods from your dry foods. So that means a fresher lunch come lunchtime. And speaking of crackers, I'm going to go ahead and add those first. And check out the difference between the Lunchable original crackers and my knockoff Walmart Ritz crackers. These are the same by weight, but they definitely don't look the same. Next, I'm going to be adding in the meat. Now, you can get Lunchables with ham or turkey, but my kids usually prefer the turkey, so that's what I'm using today. And because this is really thinly sliced turkey, I'm not going to punch it out into circles like a Lunchable would be. I'm just going to roll it up, cut it in half, and add it to some skewers. Now, you can't have a crackers and cheese Lunchable without the cheese, of course, so that's going in here next. And even though I'm just using the Walmart brand of cheese, I definitely think that this kind has more cheesy flavor than what you would typically get in a Lunchable. Now, in the original Lunchable, they include a Reese's peanut butter cup, but for this lunch, I'm going to change it up a little bit and add some Reese's Pieces instead. And I'm going to put the Reese's Pieces in this adorable little frog-shaped snack holder that I got at Target. Now, these are a little bit different, but I'm using the same amount, but the cost is going to be the same, so it's okay. And then in the original Lunchable, they also include a Capri Sun, and I had a really hard time finding a box of Pacific Cooler flavor, so I'm gonna go with the strawberry kiwi instead. And check it out, you guys. The original Lunchable was $2.38, but I was able to make my Lunchable for just $1.05. So that's a pretty good savings, but I'm not done yet. Remember, there's round two. I definitely think that this lunch is lacking some fruits and veggies, so I'm gonna go ahead and add some blueberries. This is just 1 ounce of blueberries, so it's not very expensive. Next, I'm going to add in some baby carrots with a little container of ranch on the side. And then I'm going to finish this lunch off with a yogurt tube. And even with these additions, the final cost of everything you see here is just $1.55, which is still a lot cheaper than the original Lunchable that has less food. Okay guys, next up I'm going to be making the pizza themed Lunchable, and this is definitely one that my daughter Lily would enjoy. If you were to buy this at Walmart, it would cost you $2.38. Now I think we can do a lot better than that. Now in this pizza kit, you're going to get 3 little pieces of bread for your crust. You're also going to get some sauce, a little bit of cheese, a little bit of pepperoni. Then you also get a little treat and a Capri Sun. So for my version of the pizza Lunchable, I'm going to start with the pizza crust. Now there are lots of different things that you can use, but to make it a little bit healthier, I'm going to go ahead and use some of these whole wheat sandwich thins. Now I could go ahead and cut these into smaller circles, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut them in half. That way they'll fit a lot easier in the lunchbox and I'm not wasting any of this bread. That way Miss Lily can actually build herself 4 little slices of pizza. Next, I'm going to be adding in the pizza sauce. And anytime I want an affordable pizza sauce, I like to use this can from Walmart. It is surprisingly good. And for this lunch, I'm just going to need a small amount. And then of course there's the pepperoni. Now if you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you'll know that I prefer turkey pepperoni because it's a lot less greasy. And when I'm trying to save money, I like to buy the Walmart brand, but unfortunately they were sold out. So I did go with the name brand. And to get these pepperoni slices to fit better on our mini pizzas, I'm going to go ahead and cut them in half. And then to make this lunch extra cute, I'm going to put these pepperoni slices in my little panda snack box, which also came from the Target dollar spot. So it's super cute, but it's also a really affordable lunch accessory. And then of course you have to have the cheese as well. Instead of just using plain shredded mozzarella cheese, I decided to go with this Italian blend. I think it has a lot more flavor and it costs the same as mozzarella. And I did go ahead and put this cheese in my little star-shaped silicone because once I get the lid on the lunchbox, the cheese will be trapped inside and shouldn't spill out everywhere. Now that brings us to the treat. In the original Lunchable, you get one little chocolate crunch bar. So I'm also adding a little crunch bar too. And then to finish off this lunch, I'm also going to be adding in a little Capri Sun juice pouch, just like the original Lunchable. Now, I think this turned out super cute, and it's definitely a lot cheaper than the original version. Remember, that one cost $2.38, but in my version, the grand total comes to just 98 cents. But I'm not done yet. Remember, there's a round 2 coming. To make this lunch a little bit more balanced, I'm gonna go ahead and add a good amount of green grapes, and this is definitely my splurge item. It's the most expensive item in the entire lunch because sometimes fresh fruit is just like that. So in go my green grapes, and to make these grapes even more fun, I will go ahead and add these cute little panda pigs. And then in the back of the lunchbox over here, I'm also going to be adding in some baby carrots. Now, these are actually really cheap, unlike the grapes. For this amount of carrots, it's only about 5 cents, which is a good thing because the small container of ranch to go with it is about 7 cents. Now I just have one more thing I want to add into this lunch, and that is some trail mix. Now this has nuts and dried fruit. There's also some M&Ms in there, so it's definitely a good treat or a snack to go with this lunch. And of course, it's extra cute in this panda snack holder. Now you guys, I was able to add all of the fruit, the veggies, and the trail mix for a grand total on this lunch of just $1.92. So definitely one of my more expensive lunches, but still a big savings from the original Lunchable, and you're getting more food. Okay guys, next up I'm going to be making the nacho themed Lunchable, and I'm making this one with my son Jackson in mind because out of all of my kids, he's the only one that likes spicier things. Now you'll notice that this Lunchable box looks a little bit different and it's larger. That's because this type of Lunchable is geared towards older kids, which is perfect because my son Jackson is an older kid. But it also means that the price is higher. At Walmart right now, this Lunchable costs $3.58. And once you see the amount of food that's in it, you'll probably be wondering if that's a good value. This Lunchable comes with chips, a pretty tiny amount of cheese sauce and salsa. It also comes with one fruit by the foot. And then unlike the other Lunchables that come with a Capri Sun, this one comes with a little water bottle and a flavoring packet. So $3.58. I think I can do a lot better than that. For my version of the nacho lunch, I'm going to start by using some mini tortilla chips. Now I really like the mini sized ones in lunch boxes because they just fit better. And for this lunch, I'm actually going to need to put 2 little sections of chips in here because like I said, I want this lunch to be about the same amount of food as the original Lunchable. Next comes the cheese sauce. Now I know some people really like this kind of cheese sauce and some people really don't. Let me know down below what you think. I was able to get this one at Walmart for a pretty good price, but I measured the amount of cheese in the original Lunchable and it's only like 1 ounce of cheese. That's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this cheese in my cute little piggy snack box, which also came from the Target dollar spot, and it's pretty leak proof, so I think this is gonna be okay. Next, I'm going to be adding in the salsa, and this is really nothing fancy. This is the cheapest one I could find at Walmart, and it is mild, so it's not too hot, and I'm just gonna put a small amount in this little container on the side. Now to make this just like the original Lunchable, I'm also going to be adding in a fruit by the foot. And then when it comes to the drink, I was able to find a little water bottle, but I could not find anywhere a single serving packet of the Kool-Aid punch flavor. But I was able to find the Hawaiian punch flavor. So I think that's a pretty good substitution. Okay guys, now this is everything that the original Lunchable has in it. Of course, like I said, that one is $3.58, but for my version, it's just $1.05. Now you guys, for round 2, I'm going to add in one little mandarin orange for the fruit. And for the vegetable, I'm going to be adding in some celery sticks with a little container of ranch on the side for dipping. And then I'm going to finish this lunch off with something extra special. I'm going to add one little rice pudding cup. This is the kind with cinnamon on top. It is so good. And you guys, even with all of these additions made to the lunch, the grand total is only $2.08. Which is a lot less than if you were to buy it from the store. Okay guys, now that brings me to the sandwich Lunchable, and this is one that I'm making for my daughter Mackenzie. The sandwich Lunchable is definitely her favorite, and again, this Lunchable is one that's geared towards an older kid, but it's also more expensive at $3.58. In this Lunchable, you get a little hoagie roll. You also get kind of a small amount of meat and cheese. There's also a mayo packet in here. The treat for this Lunchable is just 2 little Hershey Kisses. And then the drink in this Lunchable is the water bottle with the drink mix packet. So now for my DIY sandwich Lunchable, I'm going to start by adding a hot dog bun. Now I know that sounds weird, but I couldn't find any really small hoagie rolls, and I think that this split top hot dog bun looks pretty similar and it fits really well. So I'm going to go ahead and add that, and I'm going to go ahead and add 2 little silicone liners here on the side. That way I can pack the meat and the cheese separately and they won't get the bread all soggy before lunchtime. Now in the original Lunchable you get a little Kraft mayo packet, but it just so happens that I have a little Heinz mayo packet left over from some takeout recently, so technically this didn't cost me anything, but I'm gonna go ahead and add it in the lunchbox anyway. And now, just like the original Lunchable, I am gonna add in some Pringles. Now if I wanted to save the most money, I would just go with the big can of Pringles because I think it's cheaper to buy them that way. But since I'm trying to keep this as close to the original as I can, I did go ahead and pick up a pack of the individual Pringle canister things. Next, I'll add in 2 Hershey Kisses, just like the original Lunchable. And then I'll finish this one off with a little water bottle with the drink mix. Now, believe it or not, you guys, my version of the sandwich Lunchable comes to just $1.58, which is 2 full dollars cheaper than if you were to buy it from the store. Now, for round 2, I'm gonna go ahead and take the little chips out of the lunchbox, also the Hershey Kisses. That way I have plenty of room for some fresh fruits and veggies. For the fruits, I'm gonna splurge a little bit here and add some fresh strawberries that I cut into heart shapes. Again, just like the grapes, the fresh fruit is probably the most expensive item in this entire lunch, but I'm gonna go ahead and pair that with some cucumber, which is a lot more affordable. This amount is just about 10 cents worth. And one of my kids' favorite lunchtime snacks, I'm going to add in a blueberry fig bar pack. And then last but not least, I'm not going to be forgetting about the ranch to go with the cucumbers. And there you have it, guys. My version of the sandwich Lunchable came to just $2.73 versus the store-bought version at $3.58. Now, if you enjoyed this video today, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and if you'd like to see even more budget-friendly lunch ideas, you can click on the link right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Now you guys, I have 4 kids and they all love pizza, and these pizza rolls fit really well into lunch boxes. Now the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to cut the cheese. For this, I'm actually using some string cheese, and I'm going to go ahead and just cut them right in half. Next, I'm going to go ahead and open up my crescent dough. Now if you don't have crescent dough, you could also just use regular pizza dough, but using the crescent dough definitely makes this recipe quick and easy. Next comes the pepperoni. Now I'm using the mini pepperoni because I think they fit really well, but you could also use the regular size. I'm gonna fit as much pepperoni in here as I can. Next comes the string cheese. and then it's time to roll them up. Now you guys will probably notice that I didn't add any pizza sauce or marinara sauce into these at all. And that's because number one, I find that when I put the pizza sauce in these rolls, they get a little bit soggy when I reheat them. So I don't put the sauce in the pizza rolls. What I like to do is add some marinara on the side that the kids can actually dip these in. And you guys, I also wanted to point out that as I'm rolling these up, I like to tuck in the dough on the sides like this and then roll it up. That way, as the cheese melts, it won't leak out of the bread. So now that I have these all rolled up, I just have one more thing I want to do before I bake them. I'm going to take a little bit of melted butter. To this, I'm adding some powdered garlic and a good amount of dried Italian seasoning. I'm going to mix this all together, and then I'm going to brush this on the top of each little pizza roll. Now, technically, you could skip this step, but trust me, I think that this makes the pizza rolls so much better. It helps the outside get crispy, and it adds a lot of flavor. Now, I'm going to pop these in the oven at 350 for about 12 to 15 minutes. Once they're out of the oven, I do want to go ahead and let them cool down completely. Once that's done, it's time to flash freeze. After about 30 minutes, I can go ahead and add all of these pizza rolls to my bag without them sticking together. Now, these will also stay good in your freezer for several weeks. And to reheat these, my favorite way is to actually pop them in the air fryer. These only take about 2 to 3 minutes to completely reheat all the way through. The cheese will be nice and gooey and delicious. Now, these are tasty at room temperature, but you could also throw them into a thermos to keep them warm. Guys, out of all of these freezable lunchbox recipes, these mini corn dogs are probably my favorite. Anytime I'm making muffins of any kind, I love using these silicone liners. They make cleanup a breeze. Next, I'm going to go ahead and cut up the hot dogs, and to do this, I'm using my really cute hot dog cutter. I like to cut the hot dogs into little pieces before I add them into these corn dog muffins. That way you get a little piece of hot dog in every bite. Next, I'm going to go ahead and prepare the corn muffin batter. You can use whatever kind of cornbread recipe you prefer. You can make it from scratch if you want to, but I really love this Famous Dave's version because it's super easy to throw together, it's super tasty, and the muffins come out nice and moist. So to put these together, I like to start with 1 scoop of the batter, then I add the pieces of hot dog, followed by 1 more scoop of the batter. I like doing it this way so that all of the hot dog pieces don't sink to the bottom. Now I cook these at 350 for about 12 minutes or so, or until they're golden brown. Now once these are out of the oven, I like to let them cool down completely before I freeze them. Then I can go ahead and bag them up and get them into the freezer. These will stay good in your freezer for several weeks. And when you want to reheat them, all you have to do is pull out however many muffins you need, and then you can just pop them into the microwave for about 60 seconds or so. Now I hope you found this video helpful today, and let me know in the comments down below if you plan on making any of these freezer recipes yourself. Guys, today is Monday. Since this is going to be our first school lunch of 2020, today I'm going for a school themed lunch. I've decided to use the bento lunch boxes, and today's lunch is also going to be meat-free and dairy-free. And you guys, a lot of Mondays end up being our PB&J day as well, because it's something quick and easy that I can put together on a Monday morning. So this week we're going to be trying this organic creamy peanut butter I picked up at Aldi. And we're also going to test out this organic strawberry jam from Aldi as well. And I'm also bringing out my mini letter shape cookie cutters because I want to turn these sandwiches into Peekaboo sandwiches. So for each kid, I'm actually only going to be making half a sandwich. With all of the other things I want to add into today's lunch, I think that's going to be plenty. So I'm going to start by cutting this piece of bread in half. And you guys, since this is Aldi week, I did get this loaf of bread at Aldi. It was only like 85 cents, which is an amazing price. I can't think of any other stores around me that have bread that cheap. So now to create these Peekaboo sandwiches, I'm going to go ahead and use my cookie cutters to punch out an A, a B, and a C. I'm just doing this to the piece of bread that's going to end up on the top, and I'm also making sure to save the little pieces of bread that come out of the center of the A and the center of the B, because I'm going to be adding those back in later. And here's a tip, you guys. Whenever I'm using cookie cutters that are really small or that have fine details, I like to use a little food pick to help me pop the food out of the cutter itself. So now on this other slice of bread, I'm going to go ahead and spread some of this Aldi peanut butter. Now this is the natural kind of peanut butter, so I did have to go ahead and stir it up quite a bit before I could spread it. But you guys, I tasted it and it tastes just like regular peanut butter. I honestly don't think my kids will be able to tell the difference. Next, I'm taking a little bit of that strawberry jam, and I'm going to be adding it directly on top of the peanut butter. Now, normally I would put the jelly on the other slice of bread, but since I'm making a Peekaboo sandwich today, it's going to be a lot easier to put the jelly on this side. So now I'm going to go ahead and close up the sandwich, and I'm going to very quickly add those tiny pieces of bread that I saved back into the center of the letters. Again, I'm using my food pick here to get these just in the right spot. And there you have it, guys. One sandwich down and two more to go. Now I think these sandwiches turned out awesome, and I know the kids are going to love them. So now that the sandwiches are done, it's time to move on to some fruit and veggies. So first I'm going to go ahead and wash up some green grapes. I was able to pick these up at Aldi for less than $1 a pound, which is awesome. And I'm also going to be washing up some blueberries, which were also less than $1 per carton, which is a really good deal for blueberries. And then for the vegetable, instead of adding baby carrots, I went ahead and bought a big bag of carrots. I was able to get a 2-pound bag for just over $1. So for these, I'm just going to wash them, peel them, and then I'm using my crinkle cutter to cut them into coins. So now, since there's not actually any cooking involved in today's lunch, I'm actually ready to put all the lunches together. In this front section, I'm going to go ahead and add in the Peekaboo PB&J. Half a sandwich fits perfectly in this section. And now to go along with these sandwiches, I also want to give the kids some yogurt. But like I said, today's lunch is meat-free and dairy-free. So when I was at Aldi, I made sure to pick up some of this non-dairy yogurt for the kids to try. Now I have to say, even though I bought these at Aldi, they were kind of pricey at over $1 a piece, but honestly I think that's just how it is when you buy non-dairy yogurt. So I'm going to add just about half a cup of that yogurt right into this front section of the lunchbox. In this back section, I'm going to go ahead and add in the grapes and the blueberries. I'm going to add a cute little schoolhouse decoration. I get these on Amazon, and they're really just a fun and easy way to dress up a lunchbox. They're actually made to go on top of cupcakes, so I know they're safe to go with food. Next to the fruit, I have just enough room for the carrots. I'm going to add in one more of those little schoolhouse decorations directly into the yogurt. And then in this back section, I have something new for the kids to try. These little cookie bites are grain-free, gluten-free. They're also paleo and vegan. Of course, these are from Aldi as well. They were a little bit more expensive at $2.99 a bag, but they did come in several different flavors, including chocolate chip, double chocolate, and caramel. So I'm going to go ahead and add just 2 or 3 of these little cookies into each lunchbox. And then for the kids' drinks today, I'm bringing out some new water bottles. And you'll notice that these ones are quite a lot bigger than their old water bottles, because now that the kids are older, they're definitely wanting more water. Hey guys, and happy Tuesday! For today's lunch, I'm bringing back our Yum Boxes. We have had these for a couple of years now, and even though they are a little bit scratched up, they are still in perfect working order. Oh yes, and today's lunch is going to be a nut-free one as well. So if you or your kids are looking for nut-free lunch ideas, this one's for you. So just like yesterday's lunch, there's not actually any cooking involved for today's lunch either. so it's going to be really quick and easy. For the main course, I'm going to put together some delicious sandwiches. And again, I'm using some of that Aldi bread, which was only 95 cents a loaf. And this is the honey wheat bread, but honestly, I don't even think the kids will notice. So to make these sandwiches, I'm going to start by first removing all of the crusts. I often like to remove the crusts before I fill the sandwiches. That way I can save the plain crusts for recipes later. Okay guys, so now my next step is a little bit controversial. You guys will have to let me know in the comments down below what you think, but for these sandwiches today I thought instead of adding mayonnaise like I normally would, that I would go ahead and add a thin layer of butter instead. I know a lot of you out there outside of the US like to use butter in your sandwiches instead of mayo, so that's what we're gonna try today. Next, I'm adding 2 slices of ham to each sandwich, and then instead of adding regular cheddar cheese, I have something extra special. You know, one of the things that Aldi is known for is their huge selection of cheeses from all over the world. So today I thought it'd be really tasty to go ahead and add some of this Havarti cheese instead. Of course, this is a Danish style cheese, but it's actually really mild in flavor, so I'm pretty sure the kids are gonna like it. So I'm going to add 1 slice of this Havarti cheese into each sandwich, and then I'm gonna go ahead and close it up. But I'm not quite done yet. Now I know my kids love it when I decorate the tops of their sandwiches, and I'm always trying to come up with new and interesting ways to do that don't take a lot of time. So for today's sandwiches, I'm going to go ahead and add an extra slice of Havarti cheese to the top of the sandwich. And I did go ahead and just cut these out in a star shape. Next, I'm going to take 2 little slices of olive for the little eyes. Then I had just a couple of pieces of salami left in my fridge. I went ahead and cut those into tiny pieces so that they would look like smiles. And then to finish these guys off, I'm going to take a couple of sugar snap peas, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the pod just like this, and I'm going to pluck out a couple of these little peas. And I'm going to stick these little peas directly into the center of the olive. That way our little star-shaped guy looks like he has green eyes. So now these sandwiches are super cute, but they only took a couple of minutes. So now that the sandwiches are done, I can go ahead and move on to the rest of the lunch. Now this specific kind of yum box is called the panino box, which is awesome because it has this large section here on the side that is the perfect size for our sandwich. So I'm going to fit this right into here. Then over here on the side, I'm going to add in some sugar snap peas. I did go ahead and trim off both ends of the peas. My kids aren't big fans of those. And then to go along with the peas, I'm also going to fill in the rest of this section with some little tiny black olives. So as you can see, I'm adding the same exact ingredients that I used to decorate the top of the sandwich. Now just for fun, I'm going to add 1 little food pick in here. And then to go along with those sugar snap peas, I'm also going to give the kids a little bit of ranch dressing. And with this kind of yum box, there's actually a perfect spot right in the center to put things like dips and sauces. I've never had any problems with the ranch leaking out of the lunchbox. Now for the kids' fruit today, I'm going to go ahead and give them one of these little applesauce pouches. This is just the plain unsweetened apple flavor from Aldi. And then to go along with this lunch, I also want to throw in some pretzels. And you guys, these actually did not come from Aldi. I actually already had these pretzels in my pantry, and as you can tell, I just have a few left that I really want to use up. These are the Dots home-style pretzels, and if you guys have not tried these, you definitely should. These are sort of a twisty pretzel, but they also include a seasoning on the outside, which I think tastes a lot like ranch powder. So they're salty and savory and crunchy. They are really good, and I have just enough space to add a few right here at the bottom. Okay guys, now that brings us to our special treat, just a couple of these Danish butter cookies. Now I'm not sure if Aldi's has these year-round or if they're just left over from Christmas, but I thought since I was using the Danish cheese in the sandwich that these would kind of go along with that. Now you guys let me know in the comments down below if you're a fan of these Danish butter cookies. Personally, I love the pretzel shaped ones. Those are definitely my favorite. They're basically a very buttery, crispy cookie, and some of them have sugar on the outside. They are really simple but very tasty. So I'm just gonna add a couple of these into the lunchbox. And then also from Aldi, I found these little tiny juice boxes. This is just the apple flavor. So I'm gonna go ahead and give each kid one of those. And then of course, they're also also going to be taking their water bottles as well. Okay guys, 1 lunch down and 2 more to go. Now sometimes when I'm putting together these lunches, I'll make all 3 of them at the same time, and other times I'll go ahead and just make one entire lunch and then make the other ones. But you guys, let me know in the comments down below which style you like to see in these videos. Hey guys, and welcome to Wednesday. So for today's lunch, I'm going to be using these Good Bin lunch boxes. These ones are definitely different in shape and color. These boxes are really awesome because they are a lot more affordable than other bento boxes out there, but at the same time, they're not quite as leak-proof, which is totally not a problem for today's lunch because there's not going to be a lot of liquids in here, because today I'm kind of going for a lunchable style lunch. So instead of using regular round crackers like I normally would for Lunchables, today I thought I would go ahead and switch things up and use these woven wheat crackers instead. Now these are basically just like Aldi's version of Triscuit crackers. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of these right into the lunchbox, and I'm going to make sure to leave enough space on the side here for the cheese. And speaking of cheese, there actually won't be any cutting of the cheese today. Instead, I'm going to give each kid one of these little wedges of spreadable cheese. Now, normally I buy the Laughing Cow brand of cheese, but of course, since all of these things are from Aldi, we're gonna give these a try today. These really do look exactly the same as the Laughing Cow cheese, which my kids normally like. Next, I'm gonna be adding in some fruit, and while I was at Aldi, I picked up this bag of Cara oranges. Now to make these easier to fit into the lunchbox and to make it easier for my kids to peel them, I'm going to go ahead and trim off a little bit of the top of each orange. Then I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to very carefully just cut little notches along the top. That's going to make it a lot easier for the kids to peel. And then for the veggie today, I decided to go with broccoli. So I'm just going to add a few little florets right over here. And of course, I'm not going to forget the ranch today. And now you guys, so far this lunch is looking awesome and pretty well balanced, but now I'm going to go ahead and add in a sweet treat. I know my kids are going to be super excited to see these. These are not something I normally buy very often. You guys will have to let me know if you're a fan of these. I feel like these little Swiss rolls are like a classic lunchtime treat. So now to get these to fit into the lunchbox, I did go ahead and cut each one in half so I can fit them in just like this with a little swirl at the top. It looks so cool. And then last but not least, for the kids' drink today, they're just going to be taking their water. Guys, and happy Friday! For today's lunch, I'm going for sort of a French breakfast theme. And pretty much the star of today's breakfast themed lunch is going to be these little chocolate croissants. Now, I've actually seen these at Aldi before, but I've never actually purchased them until this week. They actually look a lot like the kind you might find at Starbucks. These guys are actually imported from France, so I'm thinking they're pretty authentic. And I'm gonna go ahead and just remove them from the packaging and add them into the lunch boxes. Next, I'm going to be adding in some French style yogurt. Now, you guys, if you have not tried this yogurt, you are missing out. This is actually yolk play yogurt, but it definitely has a more French style to it. It's really thick, it's super creamy, and it's not overly sweet, which I really like. Oh yes, and I also love that it comes in this little glass jar, because these jars are perfect for recycling and reusing in lots of different ways. Now this yogurt does come in lots of different flavors, but for today's lunch, I went ahead and chose the honey flavored yogurt. So I'm going to go ahead and add about half a cup of this yogurt right into this front section of the lunchbox, and I'm going to garnish it with just one little strawberry on top. And speaking of strawberries, I'm going to add in extra strawberries for today's lunch, but instead of just leaving them plain, I'm going to go ahead and cut these into strawberry roses. When I think of French food, I think of Princess Belle. And when I think of Princess Belle, I always think about roses. So I think these strawberry roses will go perfectly for today's lunch. Now I know I've shared with you guys how I make these before, but if you're new, basically I just very carefully take a paring knife and I make little cuts along the sides of the strawberry, and I very gently peel them back to make them look like the petals of a rose. So now that we have the fruit in there, it's time to move on to some vegetables. And today I'm just going to be adding a combination of celery and carrots. Super simple but delicious. And then in this last section I have just enough space for a very special treat. I thought to go along with our French theme and our Belle theme, since there are French inspired food in this lunch and I've been talking about Princess Belle as well, I thought it would be really fun to make some gray stuff. Now if you're a fan of Beauty and the Beast, you'll probably know exactly what I'm talking about when I say the gray stuff, and I actually have a separate video on exactly how I make the gray stuff. I'll go ahead and link it down below if you're curious. But for today's lunch, I'm making a really quick version of the gray stuff. I'm just going to be taking a little bit of chocolate pudding. To this, I'm adding a little bit of Cool Whip. And then lastly, I'm going to be adding in some crushed up Oreo cookies. Now I'm just going to go ahead and mix this all together. And what I'm left with is kind of like a very light chocolate mousse. This looks a lot like the gray stuff that they sell at Disneyland and at Disney World. It is super tasty, but a little bit does go a long way. So I'm going to give each kid just a little cup of this gray stuff. So now that's one lunch down. I still have two that I need to make, but I do want to go ahead and show you the drink. For the girls, I'm going to go ahead and give them some of this fruit and veggie juice with the little Belle topper. And for Jackson, I'm going to go ahead and give him fruit and veggie juice as well. But for him, I'm going to go ahead and put the Olaf topper instead, because I'm pretty sure he's a bigger fan of Olaf than he is of Princess Belle. Whoa, that is messy. Not so bad. Well, it looks pretty messy, but overall, it looks like they liked it. Now you guys, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. That helps me out so much. Again, I would love it if you would subscribe if you're not already. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.